Hey guys, this is Eric Tarr for theproaudiofiles.com. I've got another trick to show you today about creating your own impulse responses to be used within a convolution plugin. Now typically when you use convolution, you're loading in a sound file, an impulse response that's been captured of an acoustic space. But because you're loading in an impulse response, you don't have to load in these conventional sounds of acoustic spaces. You can load in all kinds of different creative signals. So I've demonstrated in another video previously how you could take like a stab of the music in your song and create an impulse response out of that. Therefore, you're using something that's unique and creative, that's tailor-made for your song, and it's also going to be based on the tone and timbre of the instruments that are part of your music. In this video then, what I'm going to do is take it a step further and kind of start from scratch and just synthesize a brand new signal that I can use to load in and create the sound of reverb. Then I'll also talk a little bit about processing that sound to tailor the reverb for my track. So I'm not even going to worry about this song to begin with. What I'm going to do is jump ahead to the end of my song here where I've got a bunch of blank space to work with. I'm going to create two new tracks. What I'm going to be doing then is synthesizing some noise signals to be used as my impulse response. I'll show you what I'm going to do to process those. So I'll create two new tracks. These will be mono auxiliary tracks. The reason why I'm creating two is I want to use one for the left, so I'll pan this one over, and one for the right. Now I've got different signals on both sides. The noise will not be identical on each side. So I can call this noise left and noise right. So the idea of using noise is it's a rough approximation or simulation of what a very diffuse kind of room, an impulse response that it would create. So what I'll do then is go in here and load up Signal Generator plugin. Now this is going to be a little bit obnoxious, so I am going to mute it. Then I'll copy this over here as well. Got it on the right. Sounds like this together. And I'll mute both of those things. I'm going to zoom in here on the end of my song. I just need a few seconds and then of the noise that I can use for my impulse. So what I will do here is draw in some automation. Let's say right here. I'm going to turn the noise down during this part and then have it kick in right about here. So that's my right channel. Let's do a similar thing on the left channel. Wonderful. So this is where my impulse is going to start. I actually want to zoom in and make sure they're starting right near the same time. All right, that'll work. Then what I'll do is just after some period of time, start to roll off the amplitude of the noise so that it lasts for a handful of seconds, like this. Then I'll just zoom in here, find the start of my impulse that gets created here. That'll work. Find the end, a few seconds. Now I will also be able to shape the tail inside of the convolution plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and play this back and listen to it. There's my reverb, impulse response. I'll save this, bounce it to my desktop so I can work with it there. Noise verb. Next up, I just need to load that sound file in to my convolution plugin. This is the IR1 from Waves. I'm using it here because it gives me a lot of ways of processing the impulse afterwards, including spectral processing, changing the length, lots of that kind of stuff. So I'll demonstrate that as part of this video as well. So I'll go out here, find my impulse response. It's on my desktop. I've called it noise verb. That'll work. Let's go back here to my vocals and I'll start to listen to it through the reverb and then dial in some of the settings and sculpt it a little bit. So let's listen and solo it here.
And I'm on your side. But were you ever meant as mine?
So what I want to do here is dial back
I
some of
was
the
looking
highs.
for a way back home. You were only 17 at most, and it was close, but we haven't seen the end. At most, we were only on the fence, and like that, it was almost time for war.
So control the low end of it as
So
well.
I need to be right this time for sure.
You can also shape the
Before
length
I
of it.
lose you now. Before I lose you now. Caught a glimpse of your bright lights on. Fell in love with the song you sung. It made sense after I let go.
So here I'm using these controls to change the length of how it's
Listen
going to
now, I
last.
thought I'd let you know
Sculpt the envelope of the
that
reverb.
it was close, but we haven't seen the end.
Next, let's just listen to this with all the music brought back in. You can hear how it sounds very pleasing, very smooth kind of reverb.
And I was always on your side. But were you ever meant as mine? I was looking for a way back home. You were only 17 at most.
So there you have it, guys. This is how you could synthesize your own signal. I'm using noise, very diffuse kind of impulse response that it creates. Gives me a nice, natural, very pleasing, smooth sounding reverb as long as I roll off some of the highs, maybe scoop out some of the lows, and control the length of that impulse response so that it fits with my particular track. So that's all there is. Take care, guys. I'll catch you next time.